Hello and welcome to year 2026. This is the first video on Pro Design channel and this promises to be really educative, so I would enjoin that you don't skip any aspect of this video. Make sure you stay and walk through till the very end, right? So I have here with me a kitchen model which I got from SketchUp You can also check the website out. You see a lot of models there. This is going to be a full tutorial, so I want to start from the basics, right? The first thing I usually do is to get online, do my research, and my research includes a reference image, a mood board, but for the sake of this class we're just gonna check out a reference image which I got from Pinterest. So there are lots of websites where you can get your reference images. All right, we kick start with our reference image. So we have this reference image which I got from Pinterest. So when you're working with a reference image, guys, I like you to really pay attention to this. This is actually to serve as a guide. There are some principles that you need to pick up from this. For example, it just looks great, right? It's because there are principles that have been applied to the scene compositions. I can see the area of focus around this island. You can see the texture, you can see the rhythm, you can also see patterns. So once you study that, align it with what you have within your brief. So we want to set this particular kind of scene. So we want to place a camera in such a way that it looks just like that, right? Let's see how we can do that. Right click on this upper part, anywhere here, just right click. So if you want to uncheck any, you can just do that. If you want to bring any out, you can do that here. So from here, you can search for your section, which is here. So this is section in case you do not have that. So you can bring it up by just searching for that. So this is sandbox, right? Just come here. I want to bring out my section. The reason why I'm going to the section plane is that I want to capture a scene that looks like what we have within our reference image. But if I do that, there is a wall because of a very tiny space that we have here. This is a very tiny space, and realistically this may not work for the kind of field of view that we are looking at here. So it may not work for us, right? So all we have to do is to have a means of assuming this wall is not there, right? We need to just find a way to look through the wall, right? And the only thing we can do right now is to use the section plane. I will show you how to do that. Okay, let's do that. We pick our section plane, right? And once I click on that, it brings me this plane. Click. So let me just keep this at section 2 and the symbol as well. Let's just keep that, and okay. Now we have this black thing going on here, right? It's already slicing our building for us. All we need to do is to click on that, and we use the move tool, and we want to move the section plane itself. So let's move that until we are able to cut off the wall. So this is exactly what we are looking at. This is really what we are looking at. So now we have enough space to frame our kitchen and to achieve the kind of frame that has been used there. So let's come to settings first, because we want to create our frame. If we check the reference image and let's check the file info, we click on that and we see the frame is 1 by 1, almost 1 by 1. This 735 by 736, right? So which means the dimension is 1:1. So let's see. The render outputs, we have the image width/height. This is where you change the dimensions of the width and the height of your frame, right? Here you set your frame. So here we are still on the 16:9 ratio. That's widescreen, and I would like to change mine to 1:1. It's almost exactly as what we have here. Let's now move to the next thing, which is to set our view. You use the zoom tool to zoom in. While still within the zoom command, you want to alter your field of view. I try as much as possible to not let my field of view to surpass 60 degrees. Let me type in 60 and press enter. So now we can see that we are closer in on our space. So still we are not close yet, so let's still move forward. So let's use 50. To change the field of view, you have to be on the zoom command, right? So let's use our pan tool. Okay, so we are almost there. So let's use 45 and then you zoom out. Let's see what we have here. Okay, all right, I'll still go even closer. Let me use 30. All right, so with 30 I think we are really close, right? So the next thing we want to do is to come to camera, then make sure you have the 2-point perspective. Click on that. It aligns the vertical edges. So you use your pan to move within your scene, and that's cool, right? We want to save this scene. Come to view, come to animation, come to add scene. All right, create scene. Now we've set our scene. You can right click and rename your scene, whatever you want. So click on render. So you see all of this, right? It looks really basic. There is nothing, absolutely nothing going on here. It's not realistic. What is the issue? The issue is that if I come out here and try to render this and try to render this, right? Or preview what we have here. We notice that the light from the exterior is interfering with the lighting within our scene, which is not supposed to be so. You remember we clipped this, right? We clipped this and it's just for the scene to be assumed as if there is no wall, but actually the wall is there. So the wall should, everything is enclosed, so there shouldn't be this much light within our kitchen scene yet, because we are supposed to be the one in charge. If I zoom this in, you see the lighting around here is interfering. So normally the sun rays enters into this, but as this now, we're not supposed to have as much light as this yet within our scene. All right, so let's do something. So this is what I want to do. Like I said, by default, once you use the section tool, you're supposed to have here the clipper, for this section. This section 2 is supposed to appear here as at the geometry, but it's not here. So what I usually do is to make sure I save my scene, right? Let me do Ctrl+S and then I save my scene right as it is. Once you save your scene, we want to close this and then open it again. So once you do that, automatically you find this section within your geometry. Now you can change the settings to achieve the writing that you're supposed to achieve. So let's see. All right, so I'm trying to reopen that and see, you get to see what I'm talking about. So all right, let's now go to the asset editor. It's open now. Asset editor is loading. Let me cancel this and then we'll come to the geometry. Like I said, so we have the name section 2 appearing here, which is our section 2. Like I said, automatically once you use your section 2, it appears as a clipper within the geometry on your V-Ray asset editor. So that is how it's supposed to be. So sometimes, for some reason, I don't know, it happens that you use it and you don't find it here at all. So you just have to do what I did, save your scene, close it, and reopen again. So with all your sections within the scene, everything will fall under the geometry once you reopen, and that's fine. So let's come here, and you come to this button here and you click for advanced options. So once you come to the advanced options for the clipper tool, all you need to do is to come to the options here. Before we do anything, I will do the first render, interactive rendering, to see how the scene looks without these settings, right? Just like we had before we reopened. So let me close that. Clip light geometry, want to uncheck that as well. So let's use camera rays only. That's all we need to do, and then let's try to render interactive again. And then we can fine tune as we like now. Let's add one more scene, but this scene we're gonna disable the section cuts. Let me disable that, and then we're gonna come in here. Okay, sometimes when you struggle with your field of view like this, you just have to change your field of view again. Come to zoom and then change it to 60 so that we have room for what we want to do. Okay, in this case we want to take this kind of scene, right? So we want to make it seem like as if we are viewing from another space into our kitchen. It tells a lot of story. Okay, let me change the field of view to 35. Nice. This is good. Got the framing. I want something to frame this up, right? So this is fine. So let's come to the camera, 2 points, and then we can pan. This is fine now. Let's add another scene. So we come to scene 1. We change that back to square. So let's come to asset editor, come to the texture, right? And here we still check our reference image. You see this is like gray. Come to the material. We want to use our sample paint to sample our cabinet. So we have it here, and let's edit in V-Ray. What I'll do to this is to move the reflection in color, right? You have 2 options for the reflection glossiness, which is pretty simple. If it is just roughness, that means, you know, the lower the value, the more reflective it is, and the higher it is, the less reflective the surface is. So it's just the opposite way to using glossiness. So the lower it is, the less reflective it is. The higher it is, the very reflective it becomes, right? Let's just leave it at the roughness, right? Because if we check our image here, right, it's not even reflective at all. So let's use 0.4, no, 0.60, right? Yeah, so that's fine. And the color is right. So color, I think, is right. So here as well, it's the same thing. So we come here, it's the same thing too as well. The ceiling is white, so the wall is really white. So let's use a simple Chaos Cosmos wall material that I usually use for my walls. It's pretty easy. Just use the Chaos Cosmos here, download at will, come to material, use wall. So I have some walls that I use a lot, so let me use this wall paint white. All you need to do is download and use this green arrow button, click on that, and it appears here. So I usually tag my texture, right, just for organization's sake. Let's see how it works. The white here, let me increase the white a little bit, the diffuse white, right, which is fine. So let's apply that to our walls. Double click on the ceiling, right click on the wall paint and say apply to selection. The same thing with the walls here, apply to selection, right? All right, so I think that's fine. Let's go back. Now we've been able to simply texture the walls and the cabinet here. So we texture the island, the top, the backlash, and up. render in interactive and see what we've done so far. So nothing special, but we can see the reflection here. We can see our faucet here. Nice, but I'll make it reflective even the more. So we would deal with the island now and the floor, right? So let's see. All right, so let's see what we have. So let's apply the floor. All right. Okay, you can see the floor. Nice. The next thing is to apply our leather. Let's use the leather from Cosmos. Leather seats. So let's use this. We're bringing this in. And we're gonna apply that. All right, let's try and edit this texture to be very dark, right? So let's right click on the texture slot and wrap inside the color correction. At the color correction parameters, switch the saturation a little bit, then come to the gamma. So we want to reduce this. All right, something like this. Something like this, right? So that's what we want to achieve with this. So something like this. Fine. Let's come back to the scene. So we're entering into the lighting stage. I want to get rid of the sun rays here. Let's disable the sun. Let me bring in a light tool which is called the dome light. So click on the dome light. So we want to access the HDRI maps. So dome light is here. Let's come here to the light. It appears here automatically, right? So what we want to do is to come to the texture slot, go for our desired HDRI map, right? So it's here, the urban. Let's just see how that is, right? So this is the urban, so I want to use this and increase this to, let's say 40, right? So with 40, let's see what we have. So I've disabled the sunlight. Let's check what we have now. So we have this. Okay, so let's come to the layers here and we'll bring in the exposure. You don't wait until you finish before you start with your post-production. You start right within the VFB here. So that's the V-Ray frame buffer. So the first thing we want to do is to tweak our exposure value. So the exposure, increase that a little bit. All right, so with that done, we can start to see things clearly, right? So the contrast, can bring the contrast a little bit as well. So the highlight, reduce the highlight a little bit as well. Then the shadow, you know, the shadow here, you want to reduce a little bit, bring the exposure value up as well. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so that's fine. That's fine for now. That is fine, right? Now we want to assist the lighting with our rectangle light or plane light, right? So we have the rectangle light here. So you use it, click on that, and then drag from the edge to this edge, right? Then want to rotate that. Use the rotate tool and rotate 180 degrees, right? And then I still want to bring that a little bit here. All right, so with that, I want to come to the V-Ray asset editor and come to the parameters of the rectangle light, and I want to make sure the invisible is checked. I want it to be invisible. I also want it to affect reflection, so that I don't want any reflected surfaces to be reflecting our plane light, right? And also affect specular. Fine. So let us see. Now, obviously I'll reduce this to 10 because it's just to assist our HDRI light. And let's see what we have now. Beautiful, guys. We can see that we are getting there. So we can see how magic is being created, and we can see we are getting close to a mood that we have here. But there is something still wrong with our island, you know, the highland pattern. So it's not showing, right? And the reason is because we deleted our texture slot for that, and we're gonna just replace. Let's come to the materials. Let's come back here, and from our bump we want to copy this and put back as a copy here, and let us increase this to 400. I think that was what we used. Okay, that was a mistake. 400, right? Enter. Okay, so with this now, all I can do is just, because I want it to be white, right? I'll just wrap this within color correction and increase the gain, gamma, and lift, right? Just increase the gain and you know, just increase the gain. Yeah, fine. Okay, now let's see what we have with this now. so we can start to see the pattern, so which is here. All right, so what I'll do is increase this to 2. I want it to be bumpy. Okay, so let's see. Okay, coming out nicely. Fine. Okay, the next thing is to check this again and see that the floor. Okay, let me see. All right, so let's try and see if because for now, if we check what we have, the floor is just plain. We can use some of my floors here as well. That's the wood flooring. Can use some of the floors here. Let's use this. Okay, let me bring this. All right, let's use this a lot. So just download them, and then it won't take you long. You don't have to tweak so much. Let me tag, and let me apply to the floor. Apply to selection. All right, so we've applied that to selection, and what I want to do is to come to bump, and the bump is fine. Here I'd like to reduce the saturation by coming to wrap this texture within color correction, and I want this to be reduced. Right, fine. Now let's see what we have now. Beautiful. There, we are almost there. Let's see our other scene, and let me change this to 4:5 and see what we have. Let me apply the texture. So let's see how this looks like. Still have some tweakings to do. Let me change this to this same floor material. Let's see what we have. Okay, let's proceed with our artificial light. Let me return this to 1:1. Let's proceed to with our artificial lighting. Okay, so we need to light this space up, right, a little bit. Let's just use rectangle light at the base here. Let me use 60, right? So rectangle light at the base, click and drag. All right, here okay, let me set this. this, and all right, so let's see what we have. Okay, looks good, but I think it's a little bit too much. Okay, let's use 15. Okay, that's fine. If we look at our reference image, you see that the height of our island is the same, which is normal, right? We want to do the same for this. All right, let's see what we have now. Right, this is fine. Let's use something magical, which is the lookup table. All right, so the lookup table, here we use a file. So I've attached all these things as well, so you see the files that we're using. All right, you see it changed drastically from ordinary this to this, right? So which is fine. We can just reduce this to about 0.70. You can see how beautiful this scene looks already, or 0.8 or 0.6, right? Okay, so this is fine. So the next thing we want to do, or we want to start to do, is to place, of course, more lights. So I want to place sphere lights within this, and if I come to the V-Ray asset editor, under light, I have my light here. Then I want to increase, I want to reduce the temperature to about 3000. All right, and let's see what we have here. Fine, so light is there coming up a little bit, so I might want to increase that, right? So let me increase the sphere light to about 100. All right, and let's see. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, the next thing I want to do is to set another scene. This time around, let me reduce the field of view, and let's set this scene here. Let's see what we have. Great. I think this is coming out nicely. So we have our HDRI on the exterior. It looks overexposed, but that's not a problem. So what we'll do now is to keep checking our angle. So you keep using your Orbit and your pan tool, even your zoom tool as well, until you find the perfect angle for yourself, right? So once you've gotten that, make sure you go to camera, use the 2-point perspective, then your pan tool to move the scene. So in my case, this is what I'm doing, just as easy as that. All right, once that is done, use your 2-point perspective again so that the verticals are aligned, then you add scene. So we'll go to settings and change this scene, because scene 2 is 4:5 portrait. Let's check out what we have. So 4:5 aspect ratio is really fantastic for this. That's what I feel. It gives that feeling of, you know, really capturing the kitchen from another space, so it tells a story, right? So this is fine. So look at that. It needs to be brightened up a little bit. So let me try to rearrange my layers here. So you can rearrange your layers whichever way that you feel works best for you. And then I want to tweak my exposure, so the highlights, just to get something brighter. Okay, I think it's a little bit brighter now. It's better than what we had. Let me stop that and close this. Also, let's check on the other views. So this is where you keep checking out your views. If you have more than a view, you keep checking your views to make sure that it's giving you the right thing or what you have in mind. So I think so far so good. We are really enjoying what we are seeing, right? So fine. Okay, maybe let me zoom in a little bit. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, so guys, this is basically what we have now. Let me update whatever you've done with your scene. Make sure you update that scene so that you don't lose all your hard work, right? So I'm gonna update scene 1 now. I'm tempted to leave it at 4:5 portraits, but then I think it's fine. So let me reduce the dome light to 30 so that our overexposed exterior environment would be less exposed, right? Okay, it doesn't really have much effect on the internal scene, so we are cool to we are cool to go, right? So this scene is really looking good with 4:5 aspect ratio. I don't know, I don't know, so but I think within 1:1 and 4:5, I don't know which one to really pick, but for the sake of this class, let's just stick with 1:1. But let me know within the comment section which one you would prefer. Is it 1:1 aspect ratio throughout, or 4:5, or the way we've mixed them, right? So let's see. So now let's change it back to 1:1 square. And now we want to soften the scene. Let's see what we have within the Chaos Cosmos browser. Under the vegetation, I've downloaded some potted plants, and we're going to use some of them. We're going to use some of them within the scene just to soften your scene. So I have this. It looks really large, right? For the scene, it looks really large. Looking at the proportion, so ensure you scale appropriately once you bring any component within your scene, so that your realism will not be, interfered by whatever components you brought in. So this looks good like this. I've scaled down a little bit, right? So let's check for other things, other accessories, or even plants. So I would love to have a plant coming in, like, through the doorway. You're just appearing halfway or something. So I think it would really look good. It will make the scene look good and soften the whole scene altogether. So but then now let's move to the accessories, and let's see the tableware and food, right? So let's see what we can bring onto the scene. I think I would love to bring this in, so just click on that, after which would have downloaded that, right? So drop, rotate, and scale, right? So let's rotate and scale, then you position that. So basically we are just gonna populate the worktops, right, and the scene generally. So let's just stay tuned and see how I go about all of this. Now we would try to preview to see the outcome of all that we've done. Yeah, I'm seeing this is looking nice. This is looking nice, right? And let me bring in another layer, that's the hue and saturation. I want to saturate the scene a little bit, so let's just tweak that higher, and the lightness, let's tone that down a bit. I would like you to be careful while dealing with all of these layers so that you don't overdo some of these things, right? That's the reason why you use your reference images so they guide your visual attention. Okay, let's tone up the chair, the leather material. I want it to be toned up a bit. Fine. Now we move to the final render settings. I really don't do much here. I just bring my quality to medium plus. Right, go to the render output. Let's use 1500 by 1500. That should be enough for like a 2K render. So we want to present to your client, you can use higher, right? It depends on you. So now let's go to the environment settings. So my custom is to always bring my texture from the dome light. If I have a view through to the exterior, copy that and paste as an instance to your environment. In this case, I'll use the same value as I've used within my dome light. So let's use 30 as well. I think that's gonna be all for the environment section. So let's go to the denoiser. The denoiser, change from the default value to mild. Right, every other thing is fine, and we are good to go with our final render for this class. Before we hit our final render, let's activate our lens effect, activate our sharpen and blur, and we'll hit on the render button, and let's see how the magic unfolds. So guys, we were able to walk through the whole process of this kitchen interior visualization from the beginning, starting from the very basics, which is the reference image. Standing on that foundation, we're able to choose different things. We're able to decide on a lot of things based off our reference image, and because of that, it made visualization very easy. When you have your reference image, it guides you, so it's very important. So you don't have to have a perfect scene, so you can just have something close. So the idea is just to have a guide. And looking at this scene now, comparing with our reference image, you can see that it's not the same per se, but you can see some elements composition wise, materials selection, lighting, arrangements of components within the scene. So those are very important, and then they make your work realistic, right? So when people see it, it is relatable, and then easily they have a feeling that there is something right with this scene. So it takes a lot of attention, I know, but you just have to do that. That's what it takes to be successful. And so we have come to the end of this tutorial. Subscribe to this channel, like, and hit the notification bell to be the first to get notified of more educational videos like this. For a structured class, you can enroll for our online visualization courses via the links within the video description. Hurry now, New Year sales is still ongoing with 70% discount on all of our courses, plus a personal mentorship by me. And if you want to execute your projects with ultra realism and detail, contact me on the People Power profile for a swift and crisp delivery. Links are within the video description as well. Thank you for watching and do have a great day ahead. See you next time.